Several months ago, my uncle decided to buy an aquarium to put in the living room. After watching him set up his aquarium and stock it with fish, I thought that fish keeping seemed like an interesting and rewarding hobby. It was then that I decided that I wanted to get into this hobby, and now I have 2 fish tanks equaling 120 gallons together. Today I would like to explain to you some of the basics of fish keeping that I have learned the past several months that I have been a part of the hobby. There are times when everything is perfect in your tank and you can really enjoy watching the fish that live in the world that you created for them. It is a hobby that almost anyone can do, even if all you have is a 5-gallon tank and a betta fish. My hope is that this will help anyone that is interested in the hobby to start off right. The first and most important factor when it comes to fish keeping is the tank. It's also the equipment that is required to run the aquarium. When choosing a tank, you want to choose something that you're going to be willing to put the time and effort toward. Also keep in mind the type of fish that you want to keep. It's a good idea to research the fish and see what is recommended for them. A bigger tank is usually better for beginners. This is because it is more difficult to negatively affect the water parameters when there's more water. If you have very little volume, you could easily affect the parameters. For most beginners, something between 20 and 40 gallons would probably be ideal. You're also going to want to buy a light to put over the tank to show your fish. You're also going to want to in order to properly keep most tropical fish, you will need a heater. Doing research before buying a certain brand is always a good idea, but when it comes to a heater, all you have to do is look at the box to see if it's rated for your tank. Finally, unless you live on a well, you're going to want a water conditioner to dechlorinate your water. This makes the water safe for fish and beneficial bacteria. The next thing that you'll need to do is choose for your aquarium is filtration. Many inexperienced people will keep fish in small bowls. Not only is a bowl too small for almost every fish, but it also lacks filtration, which is vital to keeping your fish alive. Without filtration, your fish will eventually die from ammonia. Ammonia is a highly dangerous substance to fish. Having any type of filtration will detoxify this ammonia to make it safer for fish. There are a few types of filtration, the most common being hang-on back filters, canister filters, and sumps. All 3 are effective, but they each have disadvantages and advantages. Hang-on back filters are the most affordable out of the 3. This type of filter is good for aquariums up to about 70 gallons. The main issue with them is, as the name suggests, they hang on the tank and can be very unappealing if you want to keep your tank as looking as possible. If you want something that's more subtle and more effective, you can also look into canister filters. These filters are put under the aquarium in a stand and only show the input and output tube in the tank. They are more effective than hang-on back filters, and they can be used on aquariums 200 gallons or less. The most expensive, but also most effective form of filtration is the sump. Sumps, like canister filters, sit under the cabinet, so they aren't an eyesore. A sump can be any size and can be used for the biggest of aquariums. Once you have selected a filter, it's time to fill the tank with water and cycle it. The cycle I'm referring to is the nitrogen cycle. This is an extremely important step when setting up your aquarium. When you cycle your aquarium, you allow beneficial bacteria to build up that detoxifies ammonia. If you were to put your fish in the aquarium without cycling the filter first, the bacteria would not be able to keep up with the amount of waste. In order to cycle your filter, you need to fill the tank and hook the filter up, then just add organic matter. It will take between 2 and 6 weeks for your filter to fully cycle and be safe for fish. One easy way to cycle the filter is to add fish food to the tank, which will create ammonia and encourage bacteria growth. Another way is to buy an aquarium starter such as Seachem Stability or API Quick Start. These products contain beneficial bacteria and can speed up the cycling process. After you have cycled your filter, it's time to either shape the tank or add fish. Scaping the tank isn't necessary, but can make the aquarium more visually appealing and helps the fish be happier with hiding places. In order to escape your tank, you'll either need natural things like rocks, sand, wood, and plants, or you can buy fake decorations like pirate ships or fake plants. Arrange them how you like, then it's time to add the fish. When choosing fish, there are a few factors to keep in mind: potential size, aggression, and capacity. Always research a fish before you buy it to see how big they can get and if they're going to get along with other fish. A good rule to follow when stocking smaller fish is 1 inch of fish per gallon of water. This won't work for large fish though, so do your research. Although they might not look it, fish can get mean, and just like any other animal, they can be territorial. You also do not want to stock more fish than your filter can handle, even if you have room in your tank for them. Once you have chosen the fish, you can sit back and enjoy your aquarium for a while, until it comes for routine maintenance anyway. Keeping a fish tank in your home requires some routine maintenance in order to keep your fish healthy and happy. First, there are water changes. You should be doing water changes either every week or every other week, depending on how much water you're changing. If you're doing them every week, it should be 10 to 20%, and every other week is 25 to 50%. Always turn your filter and your heater off before a water change to avoid burning them out. One useful tool for doing water changes is a gravel vacuum, which you can use to clean the substrate in your tank and to take the water out. The next thing that is required is cleaning out your filter on a monthly basis. This keeps it from clogging up. All you need to do is turn your filter off, get a little bit of tank water, and rinse the media from the filter in the water. Finally, you will most likely want to purchase an algae scraper because most tanks, especially newly established ones, will develop an algae problem. Always scrape the algae off before a water change so that most of it comes out with the old tank water. That's pretty much all the basics of fish keeping. Now you can go start your own tank off the right way. I explained all the basics to begin fish keeping. First, you're going to need a tank, a heater, and a light. After that, you'll need to purchase some type of filtration to keep the water clean. After you cycle the filter, you can add the fish to the tank with or without scaping it. Then all you have to do is enjoy your fish and do occasional maintenance to keep the fish healthy. Now that you know all the basics, you can begin your own journey into the hobby and learn even more as you go. Good luck.